Why an Africa-specific event? Why London? Why now? For me personally, as a curator and as an art professional, the label Africa does not necessarily refer to a geographic area. It refers to a mindset. It firstly refers to also to a cultural belonging.
So I think that's a point where it's important that for African artists that even Africans and curators, exist to shift this, because at the other continents always did that. So it's the time, perhaps, for us Africans to actually give more importance to what we do.
The reason why it is very relevant and very contemporary to show such a beautiful exhibition of African art like upstairs with 154 is precisely because, again, this is a geopolitical new horizon. It has already a very prestigious history, but now definitely the number of these markets are becoming so important that London has got to really recognize this.
African art is an incredible field of cultural production and that includes and encompasses the continent and its diaspora. It encompasses the history and the way that it has been reflected in the past, how, for instance, from the beginning we're mainly at the West to determine what African art was, and how that meaning has been appropriated by practitioners within the continent and a scholar within the continent. If you ask me the first question, why an African art fair, I will say that it is necessary to bring that to the public arena, to bring that to the audience.
So that whole experience of being surrounded by, I suppose, like-minded individuals, people who are passionate about the artists that they work with, that they support, that they represent, is invigorating. The creation of art and the artistic talent that is bubbling through is possibly a byproduct of the energy on the continent and the youthfulness on the continent. The majority of people are very young, and the economies are growing very rapidly. So money has a way of filtering through the system, and for the very first time enabling a generation of sculptors and artists who would never have been able to work within their own countries before. It's amazing what you can do by buying one work. It'll inspire a new generation of artists.
We've just learned that we have some of the youngest artists in the whole fair, and we're a very young gallery. We were founded at the end of 2009 in a small room next to a tailor's workshop in downtown Harare. We run as a sort of a combined artist-run space, so artists are also involved in the management of the gallery and the directions that we take.
If you provide a space which is a free space, then you have the development of very interesting emerging artists. We had to develop collectors from scratch because the local market is not sound at all, but it's an education issue where we have to almost create our own collectors.
Zimbabwe is a small country, but with a depth of talent, and this is the reason, and that is another major reason why we launched the galleries, to ensure that this talent has an opportunity to thrive, develop, and find not only local audiences but international audiences.
Les artistes que j'ai choisis, qui sont à 154, sont les artistes que je préfère, c'est ceux que j'aime. Et le choix du travail, c'est pour que ça marche ensemble. L'idée, c'est de créer une ambiance à la fois d'Afrique, donc de calme, de poésie et d'une sorte de douceur.
adore you.
As a young gallerist, I'm not looking at what has been done. I feel when I have a show to say, okay, I want to go for all the countercultures. I want to go for cultures that are not necessarily associated with Africans. And what I like to do is also to create links between different artists who have the same subject, and to see how an artist based in Dakar is looking at a subject, and how an artist from London who's visiting Africa and poaching is looking at a subject, and see what is coming out of their work.
I mean, it's called White Magic. It's made from a Madame Tussauds wax of Tony Blair. I wanted to create an African perspective, right, to the world of white magic, and how somebody can shift shapes, so to speak, right, and still walk away scot-free and clean. I've had interest from the Tate and also now from the Newark Museum of Art to purchase that, so yeah, it's interesting.
Contemporary nature of the works is really incredible. So surprised, yes, I have been surprised by a few of the pieces, but I'm also not surprised because I'm aware that there is work like this. It's just a question of assembling the works in one good location, like has been done here. So credits to the organizers. I think it's a fantastic initial approach.
There were good talks, there were gatherings outside of the fair, there were private events for the collectors. So it was pretty well organized.
There are a lot of young dealers in London who work particularly well in Africa. There's a very strong link between, the continent and London. And everybody is here at the same time for a whole mass of other shows. So I think it has a gravitas that's important, and there's an interest within the UK collectors to do it here. They want to come to London to see a fair like this. In many ways, you'd expect it to be in Brussels or Paris because of historic links, but there's not the interest. So I think London is quite forward-thinking. This probably goes on the back of what the Tate Modern are doing and the British Museum.
J'ai fait beaucoup de bonnes foires. J'ai fait Madrid, Arco, j'ai fait Art Dubai, je fais Londres maintenant. C'est vrai que les foires sont différentes parce que les propositions sont différentes, les types de galeries qui y vont sont différents et le public aussi est différent. L'avantage de 154, c'est qu'il y a plusieurs sortes de clients que moi j'ai vus. J'ai vu des grandes institutions, des musées, j'ai vu des collectionneurs, j'ai vu des amateurs et j'ai vu des personnes individuelles. Donc c'est ça qui est génial. Et je pense que c'est très important que cette fois garde ce rapport à cette clientèle, à cette fourchette de clientèle. C'est très bien. Yes, sure. Definitively sure. C'est absolument sûr que je reviens l'année prochaine parce qu'elle est belle cette fois et que j'ai envie que ça continue. Ouais.
The other thing which I strongly believe in, and which is why the now question is interesting and is important, and Elvira tapped on it, there is a high sense of ownership that has been taken over by, I think, a new generation of contemporary African practitioners, be them curators, writers, artists, organizers, and so on, which I believe are benefiting from what the first and the other generation did in the mid-80s, the Black British movement and so on. And that ownership and that vibrancy is coming from the continent. It's not coming from Paris, it's not coming from New York, it's coming from Dakar, it's coming from Nairobi, it's coming from Johannesburg, and we are bringing it to London. That's the thing.